everyone, welcome back to my recap of Reykjavik Open. Today was day 2, it was the double round day and it was pretty tough, pretty intense and yeah, let's get right into it because this building is about to close and I have to do this recap right now. So first, round 2. That was the first round of today, and I was facing a local grandmaster, Gudmundur Kjartansson. Very strong player. I have seen him around for a long time, and I know what I'm up to. So let's take a look at what happened. So when the pairing came out, I looked up what he plays, and he plays a lot of different moves on move 1. We didn't have so much time to prepare as this round was 9 a.m. 9 a.m. If you didn't know it already, 9 a.m. It was really, really crazy. So not much time, and I simply went to play e4, and I expected him to play Caro-Kann, which is what I faced yesterday as well. By the way, again with the white pieces twice in a row, pretty crazy so early on, but okay. So my opponent went in the end for e5. And that was the one move that I did not prepare against because I thought whatever happens, I'll just wing it because I just didn't have time to prepare. So I went for knight f3, knight c6, and here I was thinking, okay, I went into the game thinking if this happens, I'll just go for Ruy Lopez and I'll just see. But at the board, I was like, okay, I'm facing a grandmaster. And if I play bishop b5 and then I lose, then I'll regret not trying out bishop c4, which is exactly what the course says of Anish lifetime repertoire on e4, which is what we went through. So we went through the Italian bishop c4. So that's why I thought, let's try it out. Knight f6, d3, bishop c5, short castle is all very standard. c3, d6, simply developing moves, and you play c3 to play d4 at some point, or maybe b4 later on, whatever works best. So a4, you're taking space and of course threatening to capture this bishop. Afterwards you play bishop, if bishop b6, then afterwards you play a5 and the bishop is captured. So a6 is to give the bishop some more space, of course, and h3 was played, h6, and yeah, I'm not sure where I went out of book. I still felt pretty confident about, knowing some of the ideas. So rook e1, rook e8, I thought, if d5 happens, pawn takes, and then the pawn e5 is at least under attack. So b4 is what I played now to take some space on the queen side, bishop a7, and now queen b3. So I believe some of the positions included knight d2 already. So I need to double check this because I really did not have time to double check anything today. But I think I had to play knight d2 here. And let's say if knight d2, bishop e6, I believe I should have taken that. So yeah, this is what I vaguely remember from quickly checking what is up here. But yeah, I played queen b3. I thought after bishop e6, knight e2. And here I thought that if takes, I have to take with the queen or something. I was remembering some line like this, but apparently I just take with the knight. No idea what's going on here because d5, I didn't really like facing this. I didn't like allowing my opponent to play d5 like this and then have to retreat, and it just doesn't look good overall. So yeah, d5 is what my opponent played instead of taking on c4, which is what I was actually quite happy about because after takes, bishop takes, and here I spent quite some time calculating what do I do. Do I take on d5 or do I simply develop with the bishop to b2 and just keep the tension in the center? So turns out that the best move is rook a2, which is completely mind-blowing to me. I have the feeling that the idea is that you want to include this rook on the e-file, so soon you'll play knight f1 and then rook goes to e2 and you have a lot of pressure on that pawn on e5, that's what I'm guessing. So yeah, really crazy to see that back now, but bishop takes d5 is the move I play. And I'm not able to show you the clocks for this recap because I'm in a big rush right now, so I'm quickly trying to do this, but I can quickly update you with the clocks situation. So here I spent 23 minutes on taking on d5, so that was quite a lot of time. But I think it was well spent because it was like an important decision. Do I take or not take? And there's lots of lines here that I calculated. So the question is, of course, do I take on d5 now or no? It's very tempting to trade queens here. But the problem is if I take now on d5, I have a problem here. this pawn on c3 is very bad, and I was thinking maybe b5, a takes b5, a takes b5, and I'm not scared of bishop takes f2, king takes, because I am also taking the knight on c6, but what I didn't like here was knight f4. And this is attacking that pawn on d3, and it looks pretty bad. It looks pretty bad and really difficult to defend. The bishop is also under attack, right? So not a very pleasant position, and this is why it took me so long to figure out whether I take on d5 or not. Yeah, took me quite some time. So to go back to the position, to the game, so instead of taking on d5, I played this move quickly because I spent all my time on bishop takes d5, and then after queen takes, what do I do? So bishop takes d5, queen takes, and now b5. I played b5 first with the idea that I will end up in the same position, but then with my knight on b3, let's say. And this is what I like much more. So let's take a look, b5. But apparently I should not have played this. Apparently I should have gone c4. And I actually did consider this because, let's say the queen moves, c5, and then suddenly this bishop is trapped over here. So I really like that, and I really wanted to go for this, but I was worried about my pawn d3, the pawn b4 is weak. I didn't really like this, and yeah, I thought this is not great at all. So that's why I went for b5 instead, but I should have played c4 apparently. Knight a5, queen takes, knight takes, and here apparently I made a mistake. I really thought I was being a genius here, but clearly I wasn't. Bishop a3. And I really like this because, hey, my opponent cannot take because of bishop b4. Nice little tactic, right? But turns out I had to play something else here. Not sure what the best approach is, but the computer says king f1. It's like a crazy move. I guess the pawn is not really hanging because of bishop b2, but yeah. I was being very optimistic here. I really like my chances here. So that's why I was being a bit more, you know, aggressive rather than playing so solid. And I also thought I need to develop that bishop, right? It's the only piece, basically, that I haven't developed yet. So bishop a3, knight f4, and here I was smelling the problems already. I was like, what is going on? Because I can't really take that pawn on e5. There are some tactics in the air with bishop takes and then rook takes, so that after rook takes, knight takes d3 is like an annoying fork. So I was like, okay, that is not happening. But what else do I have? So I came up with the idea to play bishop b4 first. Let me go back here. Yeah, so bishop b4. And the thing is that after, yeah, let's say bishop b6, I calculated like a very big line, knight takes, f6, and then knight d7, which is apparently not the best move, but okay. And I thought that, let's say, I don't know, like rook takes, knight takes, and I have some knight takes b6 somewhere, and I really liked this position. I really liked where it was going to, c takes b6, and look at those poor pawns, especially that knight on a5. Pretty terrible. So, yeah, that's why I was very, you know, optimistic about my chances here, but my opponent was just kept surprising me and played knight takes d3 first. I was like, okay, yeah, that's giving up the knight on a5, so I'll take it. But after bishop takes f2, king f1, I was like, this is looking very problematic. I was like, yeah, knight takes e1, let's say, or how about bishop takes, I don't know, whatever you prefer. All of those moves are really annoying because why? A takes b5. So, of course, if I take on b5, I lose my bishop on a5, so I have to take here. And I thought b takes a4, and this, oh, sorry about that. This pawn is unstoppable. So I was like, yeah, it's over. But my opponent didn't play it. So I was like, oof, b6. I'm still in the game. Well, I wasn't really sure, but I have a feeling that my opponent missed the following move because it is very obvious my bishop is hanging, the rook is hanging, so ideally you want to move the rook, so you play rook e2, and then after b takes a5, rook takes, knight takes, king takes, there's e4. And the problem is that this pawn is attacking the knight here, but it's also threatening e3 check, a fork, and I will lose one knight regardless. So that's why I was like, oh no, this is bad, which is why I didn't play this. I played instead rook d1. And after this move, it gets really tricky because it looks like I'm just giving up the piece for free, right? For no reason at all. So b takes a5, knight e4. So now I have, it's like a discovery attack, but then a discovery double attack. It's pretty crazy. So I'm attacking the knight, and I'm also attacking the bishop on f2. And one of the pieces is going to disappear, right? Bishop b6, rook takes d3. And I did see the following move, which is kind of ruining the things over here, but f5. f5, and my opponent is winning the piece back no matter what. But what I really liked is that I am going to win a pawn back because I'm down a pawn, so I will win the pawn back, you know? So I'm down 2 pawns, actually, 2 pawns. So I thought maybe I can like hold it somewhere. But in this position, I spent quite some time. Well, I only had 8 minutes in this position. We are on move 23, so I was a little bit in time trouble already. And I was thinking, okay, I have to move my knight or I have to protect it. What do? I didn't like rook e1, because if you just play rook e1, let's say takes, and then a takes b5, and there's going to be a passed pawn on the a file, and that one is going to be really difficult to stop. So that's why I was like, I don't want to play rook e1. But for the longest time, I just see so many options going through my head. There is knight to g3, let's say, over here, attacking that pawn. There is knight d2, but there's also this one move that I considered, knight to d6. But when I saw this move, I thought, this is just insane. This is madness. I was thinking at the board, okay, if I play this move and it's the best move, Kramnik will be calling me right there. But I also thought this move is just too insane. I don't think it actually works. But turns out it does work. Let me show you. So first of all, of course, c takes d6, rook takes d6. White is a really nice position, attacking the bishop, but also that pawn on a6. So you're going to win another pawn with white, and you just have quite a lot of compensation going on here. So really pleasant position. Of course, you don't want to take that knight on d6. But what about e4? Counter-attacking the rook. So the line goes as follows. Knight takes e8, e takes d3. And turns out there's knight takes g7, king takes, rook d1. And suddenly it's not so clear. Oh, actually, you have to include b takes a6. I forgot about that. You have to take on a6. If you take that, then rook d1. I'm taking the pawn on d3. And after that, it is equal. The material is even. I have a knight. It's a little bit scattered over here, the pawns in a position. But I have really good chances here with white, at least, to draw a minimum. My knight can be pretty active over here, and his bishop is not really having a good time on b6. So that makes it a little bit difficult for black. But okay, this is what could have happened, but didn't happen. I played knight d2. I was really scared. I was down to a minute on the clock, even 30 seconds or something. And I was like, I have to make a move. I don't know what to do. So I played the safe option, and I thought maybe I can hold this somehow. So I lost the piece, got a pawn back, but I'm still down a pawn. Check, rook f3, because if king e2, rook f4, I thought, yeah, that's lights out. If my knight has to move, rook f2 comes in, and it's game over already. So rook f3, I played almost instantly. I expected this to happen. Takes, a4. And here I thought, yeah, that pawn is going places. I activate my king. My opponent does the same. I stop the pawn just to make sure that it can't go further, because then it gets really scary, right? g5, my opponent is taking space on the king side, at least advancing the pawns. And here I made a mistake. I played knight c3. And yeah, I thought I was, doing the right thing. But when I played this, I realized there's rook f8. Rook f8 and rook takes f3 is unstoppable. If you try to defend with king e2, then yeah, you're just going to capture, and the a pawn stays alive. And by having the a pawn still alive, you go back with the rook, and this is pretty much a lost endgame sooner or later. So yeah, I was like, okay, it's we're going down today. We're going down. But he took on c3. And I was like, okay. And he played move c5, which caught me really off guard. This move 34, 35th now for me. And I have 1.5 minutes on the clock, and I thought, well, en passant is first, right? Well, had to think twice about that, I think, because apparently there was one drawing move here. King b2. King b2. Crazy. I had to ignore en passant because I have a connected passed pawn. I should have known better. Why did I not do this? I don't know. I think I was hallucinating here that the king comes in and it's game over anyway, rook comes around if anything, and it's just over. But apparently it's not so bad, because after king f5, rook d3, I'm taking over the d file. And whatever happens, if the king comes in over here, let's say the king captures the pawn on h3, I always have f4 check. In the meantime, I can also simply collect that pawn on c5 and move the pawns forward. So that's why this was really good. And b takes c6 was a move that I should not have played, but was really tempting. But sooner or later, I started to realize it is completely over. I played c5 with like seconds on the clock, and I didn't know what to do anymore, because I was calculating this endgame, and I quickly realized that I may have the furthest pawn away, however you call that, which should give me a big advantage, right? But the problem is my opponent is making a passed pawn. You can play e4 here, f takes e4, h5, and my king is definitely not in the square of this pawn right here, or this pawn for that matter. So g4 next, and it's over. So I was very sad to see this line in my thoughts. So yeah, I played c5 because I thought I can't take, so might as well just push that pawn. And I'll just make the remaining moves real quick, because not much happened really. My opponent simply pushed that pawn forward. I tried to trick my opponent somehow, but hey, I'm playing in GM, so he knows how to deal with this. In the meantime, we crossed move 40, and sooner or later, it was completely over. Rook c2, making sure that I'm not able to push that pawn. If I take, of course, the pawn promotes to queen. So rook a1, king b4. And here I thought, it's time to resign. And yeah, this was my game against the Grandmaster. And it was really fun. I really felt like I did really well. I thought I had like a really good game, and I definitely felt like I had a good start. I thought I had like good chances. So yeah, I was very happy with my game. A little bit upset at myself that I didn't find the right moves, or I didn't make the right moves, because I did see them. I found them, but I didn't do them. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way that this game went. I made it really close. So yeah, that was giving me a lot of confidence and made me really excited for the next game. So let's take a look what happened in game 3 of today. So there we are, we have game 3, and in game 3 I played against Anishka Vikram from India. She is a woman candidate master, and she has a rating of 1995. After the game, I'll quickly share this before showing you the game. My opponent told me that, or my opponent's mom told me that she watches my streams, or she watches my videos, so shout out to her. So kind, she's so wholesome. So it was really nice to talk to her. We analyzed the game afterwards, and it was really nice to discuss the game and our ideas and everything. And it was really nice to hang out with her.
Hi.
Yeah.
I just want to say sorry about that earlier.
No, don't worry, it's okay. Thank you so much, don't worry. Oh, that's so sweet. I had to go downstairs from upstairs, and I found a place to record, and they had to kick me out of there, and it was a bit hectic, but she came here to say sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's continue real quick, because I only have 20 minutes now until this building closes. So let's continue. So this game, I was really ready to fight. I wanted to, make the best out of it, but at the same time, this was really, the round where I was really tired. I did not have much rest. I could barely prepare, of course. I mean, everyone had this issue, but I was super tired. So in the first couple of moves, I was just feeling really tired, did not really feel like playing even. But at some point, I started to get energy. Let's take a look what happened. D4, D5. I knew my opponent plays this, the Slav exchange. I didn't really know what to do, honestly. I saw that she plays d4, and I thought, okay, let's just go for this. I don't really know what to prepare now. So I quickly checked the line. She always plays this knight c3, knight f6, bishop f4. So I quickly checked this line with bishop g4. And in the course that I followed, I only saw f3, and I was like, okay, f3, bishop d7, blah, blah, blah. But at the board, I'm like, what about queen b3? Oh, it's on the board. Queen b3, and I'm like, what do I do? So I was like, okay, there's like knight a5, I guess, queen a4 check, bishop back, but I was like, I'm not very sure. So I was thinking, if bishop b5, can I play knight c4? Is this a move? I don't know. I had to calculate all this: knight takes d5, knight takes, bishop takes queen takes c4, and if rook c8, my opponent has to be careful because I am threatening knight b4. There's also knight takes f4. So I was thinking queen b3 back, then maybe I play e6 to allow the bishop to go to b4 and give it check. And I thought, okay, I'm down a pawn, but I have like a lot of compensation for it. But I was not sure if this is theory, if this is the line. So I was really happy that my opponent played queen c2, so I didn't have to worry about any of this. But apparently after bishop b5, I can simply also play e6 or something, or knight c6 back. So not much to worry about. Also, you don't really want to trade the light squared bishops with white, so that's kind of the idea. And she went back in the end, and I played rook c8, and I thought, okay, I think I should be happy with the opening. Bishop d3, e6, knight f3, and here I went with b5. I thought now or never, make use of that pin on the c file and prepare b4, and yeah, try to weaken some squares. a3, knight c4, short castle, bishop e7, queen e2, and here I thought, oh, this is very interesting. I was expecting some rook c1 before playing queen e2, so I was like, okay, let's take a look. And I thought maybe I can take here, but turns out that this poor pawn is attacked 3 times now and only defended twice. And if I lose that pawn, then a7 also becomes weak, and I thought this is quite a disaster. So I was a little bit disappointed that this was not really possible to play. So I just went short castle in the end. And she played b3 here, and I was like, wait, that doesn't feel right. Something feels wrong with this. I just take on a3, and knight takes b5, bishop takes, because I want to get rid of that light squared bishop, right? Bishop takes b5 and queen b6, and I'm like, I feel really confident because the bishop is under attack. If the bishop leaves, the pawn is also hanging, so the bishop has to go to a4 to protect the pawn. It's the only move. And here I just have the c file completely free and open for me. Queen d1, rook c8, just reinforcing. And here my opponent made a really clever move. Bishop g5, queen b4. The idea behind bishop g5 is simply that you're preparing to take on f6 because my bishop is overloaded. It's defending that poor knight on a3. I was really happy with that knight, but I started to realize that this knight is actually maybe really bad over there because now bishop takes f6. I cannot take back with the bishop, so I have to take back with the pawn. I'm not really sure what to think of that. So yeah, she played bishop g5, and I went queen b4 because I was like, I need to move forward. I need to make progress somewhere, somehow. And then she played knight e5, and I expected this, but what I didn't realize is that if I play any move, let's say, what is any move? I was thinking to play knight e4 here. And the problem is that with knight e4, so I was thinking bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, and everything is fine. My knight on e4 is very happy. I'm coming in with knight c3 or knight e2 or whatever, and I just have a really good position. But what I didn't realize until now was that there is knight d3, an intermediate move. And the issue here is that after queen b7 takes, knight c5. And you may think, what's the problem? Knight takes c5, d takes c5, queen takes c5. Here's the problem. b4. Such a pretty move. And the issue is that if I take, of course I lose the rook here. And yeah, I'm just down on exchange. And yeah, I can still try to fight for a draw, but my chances are not looking great here. And if I move, I have to move the queen. And I'm basically losing the rook or the knight, but definitely the rook. So yeah, when I saw this line, I was like, wait a second. I can't play knight e4. Are you kidding me? That was the whole idea. So I was here on 52 minutes and my opponent on 32 minutes. And I was super confident throughout the game. I was up on the clock. My position was great. What can go wrong? This position, I realized I'm in big trouble. As in, I don't know what to do. What move can I play here? This knight is simply jumping to c5 without my permission, and I hate it. So yeah, then I decided I'm moving my rook. I can't stand seeing b4 on the board, attacking my rook. I just cannot process that this bishop is going to do damage to my position, right? So I want to stop that at any cost. And I went down from 52 minutes to 21. Yeah, that hurts. All my time advantage, gone. All my advantage in the position, gone. And I was like, feeling quite sad inside. But okay, we're on move 21. We still have to play quite a few moves to reach time control, the 14th move. She took on f6. I really thought that maybe she has to play knight d3 first. And yeah, just jump to c5 or something like that. Or actually, or take on f6 later or something. Because now, let's say if I retreat, I don't know, here, then bishop takes. I can't take with the bishop, remember? So g takes f6. And I thought this is a little bit tricky for me. But yeah, she decided to take first on f6, which I was really happy about in a way, in some way, because then my pawn structure is still, you know, intact and everything. She plays knight e3, but she, of course, has this one goal in mind to put the knight on c5, and it's a really good idea as well, because knight c5, and yeah, I'm struggling a little bit to find my way here. E5 is what I played. I have to go for it. I have to open up the position and find counterplay. So I'm sacrificing the pawn on d5 on purpose. I play knight b6 back. I did consider the move rook d8, but I wasn't really sure what it would bring me. Queen b7, and I was like, yeah, I don't really like this as much. I want to keep the queens on the board, and I want to keep the initiative going. So knight b6, kind of strange retreating move. But the thing is that the queen just doesn't have good squares. There's like lots of threats in the position. This bishop is sort of attacking that rook on a1, is like looking right at it, right? And these pieces over here are also quite loose. I'll show you in a sec. So here, rook c4 I played. So rook c4, and I'm attacking the rook, but also the pawn on b4. And I'm also threatening to take on c5 somehow if the rook, let's say, leaves the a file. So yeah, during the game, I did kind of like get sad about the fact that, so I played rook c4 and I was like, wait, did I just miss something? I thought maybe queen h4 was more interesting, but okay, I'm very happy to see that the engine is not happy with this move, because at the game I was like, oh my god, did I just miss this? Did I just miss queen h4? But apparently g3, queen takes b4, and some knight d7. This is also what we analyzed afterwards, and I was kind of relieved by the complications it had, because I was during the game really upset that I may have missed like an easy win or something, you know? But I also did see that a5 could have been interesting, but it's so complicated. Like, it's such a simple position, but also very complicated. I don't really know how to put it. So yeah, I didn't really like feel to play a5. I liked rook c4 just much more. And after rook b1, so she has to move the rook basically, I took on c5. I could have taken on a4 as well, but I wasn't really sure what to think of queen f5, and then yeah, I have to go back all the way, and I didn't really like my chances here. I guess I have like a slight edge because of the passed pawn, but yeah, really difficult, of course. So yeah, she went rook b1, I took on c5 in the end. I thought I have to make use of my small advantage here with the two pieces versus rook, right? Two minor pieces. I thought those two pieces could come in handy at some point. Queen g4, queen e8. She afterwards told me she was really happy to see that there's like a fork with the queen on the knight and rook. But fortunately, I had a defense here with queen e8. She went rook b7, and here I played a6, apparently a mistake. I mean, computer is saying h5. I don't know what computer is on, but yeah, I don't understand this. Queen takes h5, rook takes c5. I guess I'm just like capturing the pawn with tempo or something. That I don't know. This is just completely insane. So a6, queen h4, and here she made a blunder, and I didn't know. And afterwards on the stream, I was told that this was a blunder. And what I completely missed is that after knight takes c5, so the threat is rook e7, right? Well, guess what? Queen d8. What? Absolutely insane. The rook is pinned, and I'm just up a pawn and going to win this game. And actually, how do you defend this rook over here? Bishop f6, and it's over. So yeah, I was a bit sad about this. Okay, I guess you have queen g4. But yeah, this rook is not happy. This rook is not happy for sure. So yeah, I completely missed this because I didn't have time. So just to update you on the clock situation, we're move 33, and we are both like around a minute on the clock. So it was quite the time scramble over here. Bishop f6, queen c4, knight takes c5. I'm going to make the next few moves a bit quickly. G6, I just didn't know what to do. I thought like this pin on the C file is super annoying and I have to do something about this and just free some squares for my king. But what I didn't realize, playing this move with 7 seconds on the clock, that I'm allowing rook b6 and there are some tactics in the position again. So king g7, rook takes a6, and turns out I was still winning here. She made a mistake because crazy moves over here, crazy moves. You play bishop b2 because the idea is if the rook leaves the c file, you can then take on a6 because then there's no attack anymore on the rook, right? So rook c2, and then next you go out of the pin and you prepare a back rank checkmate. These kind of tactics I usually spot. Like if you give me 10 minutes, I'll see it easily. But with 30 seconds, it did not even cross my mind. I didn't even think there were intermediate moves. I just couldn't focus anymore. I don't know. I was just not able to find those moves. I didn't even think there were any of those moves available. So it was quite a shock to see this afterwards. But yeah, I took on a6. I thought this is the only move I have. Queen takes, and I did not want to trade queens because I thought maybe my queen and knight combination can come in handy at some point. So she offered a draw here, but I wanted to continue just to see like if I can create some chances here because I think I can't lose here. Well, I can, but I hope I'm not able to, right? Rook c6, knight b4, knight d3. I want to try to create some threats as she plays the right move, queen b7. Very well spotted because I'm trying to get on b1 or maybe queen f5. And here I was thinking for quite some time. I spent some time on queen f5 because I thought maybe I can create some threats over here because it can get really tricky. After a long thought, I saw rook takes f7, king g8. I was like, okay, this is like fine, right? No, rook takes f6. With idea queen takes, queen b3 check, she's picking up the knight, up 2 pawns, and going to win this game. And I was really sad to realize this because I spent like so much time on this move, like 8 minutes. Okay, it's a lot, okay? It's a lot in this phase of the game. I spent quite some time on this move, queen f5, and yeah, really sad that all of a sudden it was just bad. So queen e8, I went back, queen d5, and now I'm very passive. And here I was still hopeful, knight e3. I thought, oh, I'm creating some chances. So just to show you, if queen d3 over here, I was thinking some queen a4 type of moves, or queen b8 even. I thought maybe queen b8 would be interesting because, let's say the rook moves, I don't know, here, the idea is queen b2. I'm coming in on the second rank, and she can't take my knight because of bishop d4, and I'm winning the queen. So I thought, she can't defend the checkmate, bishop d4 is incoming, this looks good. But then she hit me with queen d7, and I was like, that is really unfortunate because I really thought I was going to create some chances here, but now she stopped everything possible because if I leave with the queen, she can take on f7 and it is over. That is actually losing. If you take on e4, this is actually checkmate, so yeah, don't do that. We need to be very precise here. So here I basically gave up and traded the queens. And as a king f8, I offered a draw and she accepted. So that was my game today. Both games were pretty crazy today, and yeah, I'm happy with the draw in the end in the second game of today. I mean, I had chances, but I just didn't have the time, and my opponent played super well. She played so well. She found the right moves. She made it very difficult for me, and I feel like, yeah, I was telling myself if I win this, I don't deserve to win this. So I think we both deserved the draw. We both missed some opportunities here and there. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is chess and anything can happen. So yeah, it was really fun to play this game. It was a really fun game. And yeah, it's time to get back into studying tactics. But for now, everyone, I have to sign off because it is almost closing time of the building. So I have to go. But thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you so much for the support during the streams. I hope you guys are enjoying the live commentary. Make sure to tune in to tomorrow's game. Probably this recap is going live tomorrow morning or something. So yeah, we'll have the next round tomorrow at a normal time finally. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.